Hi there, everyone, and welcome to Paper Wishes Weekly Webisodes. I'm Sara Newman, and I'm so happy you're joining me for this episode of Saturday with Sara. Today, I'm really excited to show you a beautiful collection from our friends at Stamperia called Secret Diary. We have pattern papers, 3 sets of rub-ons, plus a pack of chipboard ephemera. And today's collection features a really beautiful vintage collage style. I think you're really going to like it. So let's take a look. I'm going to move aside our chipboard just for now, and we can flip through our 8x8 paper pack. So here you've got 10 double-sided sheets, and even from the first page, I think you can see what I mean by a vintage collage style. You've got some really beautiful faux texture backgrounds, got some nice illustrations in here, as well as some collage layering going on. Everything is in this beautiful soft color palette. It's really easy to work with. As you can see here, great backgrounds, as well as some elements that you can collage yourself. Now we're coming to one of my favorite sheets in the pack, which is this one here. Of course, you can use it as your background sheet, but you can also cut this apart to use some of these fragments individually or as a border or in small groupings. So there's a lot that you can do even with this one sheet. Then there are also some pages of cutout embellishments. So you can see here lots of straight lines to make it easy to cut out. And on one side, you've got everything filled in, lots of illustrations. On the other side, you've got the same shapes, but there's plenty of space for you to add your own messages or personalization. Same thing with this side. You've got beautiful elements for a card focal or for the inside of your card. On the reverse side, you've got plenty of room to fill in yourself. Then you've also got some fussy cut elements. This is on the inside back cover. And then on the inside front cover, we'll go back up here, you've got beautiful flowers that you could use as cutout elements, or of course this could be a background paper in itself too. So there's just a lot even inside this 8x8 paper pack, a lot going on. We also have 3 sets of coordinating rub-on embellishments. These are absolutely stunning. So you have everything from collage to flowers and birds to floral. Now these are really easy to apply, and there are instructions on the back, but of course I will step you through the process too. Any of these can be used individually, but they can also be used in combination. So you could even do some layering elements on here too. Then back to our chipboard embellishments. There are 35 assorted die cut pieces in that package that I whisked away earlier, and I put them onto 2 pieces of cardstock so that you can see the images a bit better, especially this one, which happens to be one of my favorites. I love that you've got so many different gorgeous elements in a variety of sizes, perfect for your card front. Or, of course, you can incorporate these into the inside of your card. You can also do a lot of layering with these embellishments as well. And they are a sturdy chipboard weight, so they are great for your card focals or accent pieces. So as you can see, everything today is designed to coordinate perfectly, making it really easy to create stunning cards. I'm really glad that you're here today, and I am so excited to explore the creative possibilities with you. So come play with us. I wanted to start with this card because I think it shows how nicely these papers and embellishments can come together. It's also really simple. It's basically 3 elements. So the patterned background paper, this chipboard piece, this is one of my favorites from the collection, and then this smaller label piece. So 1, 2, 3, and you're done. Now the trick is I'm really taking advantage of the patterned background paper. So let me show you what this looks like as it comes. So beautiful collage, lots of elements going on here, a lot of different areas to pick and choose from if you want to cut this down. So I've trimmed down the sheet slightly smaller than my card front, and I inked the edges with Grage. This is one of my go-to ink pads. It's a dye-based ink pad from Hunky Dory, and the color is a perfect neutral. It goes with virtually any color palette and works perfectly with the color palette in today's collection. So I glued this onto the front of my card and I positioned the paper design so I have this collage border along the edge with the sentiment that so beautifully matches with the girl sitting on the half moon. And she's looking down toward the writing. Of course, the My Story die cut matches perfectly. And both of these elements are up on foam tape for some dimension. So I really like this card layout. I think it's just beautiful and again, so simple. But I wanted to show you a couple of different options. So this is what we would call a landscape orientation. You could also use that same pattern paper for a portrait style card. So you can see how they're going different directions here. Both are the same card size. So no changes there, just a change in the orientation of the paper placement. So I could, again, position the words kind of along the edge here and then take my chipboard piece and kind of position her on here so that, again, she's looking down into the words. And I could add the My Story down at the bottom. I also have some space up here at the top. I could position that in lots of different places too. So some different options there. Now, of course, there are lots of different collage designs in the collection. So I could even use this sheet if I wanted to. I'll scoot this out of the way. So again, lots of different elements that I can use on here, but I could position her here again with some text on there. Now, if I wanted something that had a little bit more neutral design, just flip over that paper and you can see here that that would go beautifully too. Now, this is in a really nice, cool blue, but there's also one that's a bit warmer in tone with that nice kind of reddish, almost a reddish tan. And again, this is taking advantage of some of that text that's kind of hidden in the background and this beautiful faux texture on here. So again, lots and lots of options that you can choose. And so this is the 1, 2, 3 simplest recipe I could discover with this, and I think it turned out really nicely. So then back to my card. For the card inside, I have just a strip of pattern paper, also inked with the grayish, and I have a rub-on. This whole floral piece is a rub-on from the Floral Rub-On set. And I've trimmed out this Aim for the Sky sentiment. Now this is from that all-over sheet that has all of those sentiments. You can, of course, use it as a background sheet, but you can also snip it apart, which is what I've been doing. And then I just glued that down overlapping. So this is just one way you can combine the elements in today's collection, but I've got a few more for us to look at too. For this card, I'm combining several elements together to create an overlapping collaged focal. And there's a lot going on here, so let's start from the bottom and we can work our way up. First of all, I've used this gorgeous faux texture blue paper as my background. So let me show you what this looks like. And again, you can choose which section of the paper you want to utilize. I wanted to make sure that I have some of this text here, which you can see over here along the side. And I've trimmed this down slightly smaller than my card front and inked the edges with grayish before gluing it down. Now, I could have simply covered my card front with this paper, and that would have been lovely too. But I really like how having this white border around the outside edge helps to create a frame for our focal. Then in the center, I have a white rectangle piece of cardstock, and I die cut this and then inked it with grayish and glued it to the card front. So I'm going to bring in a piece here, and we can kind of play with layering this up here. So I've simply glued that down after inking the edges and then started to build my focal, and it's chipboard elements all together. So I've got this really cool vintage typewriter, and that's going to go about in the center there. I have this layered with some chipboard flowers, and this I've kind of tucked underneath one portion of the typewriter. So what I like to do is arrange all of these pieces together before gluing anything down, because then I can see where I need to attach things with foam tape so that the elements will lay flat. So I've got those two pieces together. I have a plant that's overlapping down here, and I've got the word imagination that's down here, and then I've also got a butterfly kind of flying in here. So those are all of my elements. You'll notice everything except for our butterfly is overlapping with this typewriter, but they are all sort of going out from this rectangular piece. So not everything is kept within the confines of that rectangle. But what I really like is then the chance to take some other elements and create a little bit more of an overlap between these two pieces. And this is done with some rub-on. So those are applied right onto the cardstock and pattern paper, going over the two, so they're going across the seam on those cardstock layers. Really easy to do, and I think it adds a really nice touch. And these are from the Flowers and Birds rub-on set. So let's take a closer look at applying a rub-on, and applying a rub-on that bridges two layers of cardstock. So first I'm going to bring in one of the cutouts from the paper pack. So this is one side and this is the other side. And I have one of these beautiful floral pieces here. So I'm just going to position this down, smooth it down, create a little handle by creasing up one corner, and then I just need to burnish this in place. And I like using a bone folder for this. And these rub-ons transfer so nicely and so easily. All you need to do is add a bit of firm pressure going around here. Make sure you get all of those detail areas. And then I'm going to lift up with this handle slowly and see that if I've got everything transferred. If it doesn't transfer at first, I can always put that back in place and continue burnishing. But it looks like I've got it completely transferred. So there you can see how beautifully it integrates also with some patterned background. Okay, so then what if I have two layers of cardstock or paper that go together? How is that going to work? Well, I've got one of those cutouts glued onto another piece of cardstock. So I've got my two layers here. And I'll grab another one of the rub-ons. And then let's see, I'll position this maybe down here. Again, overlapping, so I'm going over the edge of my cutout right onto my patterned cardstock. And the same process as before. So I'm going to burnish this down with my bone folder. Now the only difference is that I really like to make sure I'm using the crease of the bone folder to go, or the tip to go along the edge of my cutout, just to make sure that nothing gets kind of left behind there. So come along here and get my edges, and then let's pull this up and make sure that everything has transferred, and then there we go. So I'm able to create even more depth and dimension by overlapping those pieces of cardstock. Now these are not super thick pieces of cardstock. If you do have something that's a bit thicker, then you may need to give a little bit of extra oomph with your bone folder, but I think it should be fine. And it actually creates a really nice sort of bridge effect there. So that's what I've got going on here with these beautiful delicate leaves. The butterfly is on there too. I've got this piece going out this way and this one going here. Then for my card inside, I have a cutout from the paper pack along with some smaller fussy cut elements, these two tickets from the paper pack, and another plant chipboard piece. Now I've got another card project that I want to show you. This one here, well, the rub-ons work beautifully as focal elements too. So in the past we've had them as accent pieces or for the inside of the card, but look how beautiful this design is as a focal. So I've used one of the large images from the Collage rub-on set, and I think these are just so stunning. So this is all one piece. I haven't had to do anything more elaborate than simply burnishing it onto a piece of white cardstock. And it fits perfectly on a die cut rectangle. The rectangle die cuts, cutting dies are from Hot Off the Press. It's a set I use a lot. And this one measures about 3.5 by 4 inches. I've cut it from white cardstock and then layered it with foam tape onto a nested scalloped rectangle, also cut from white cardstock. And then I've got this beautiful collage background paper, which is matted onto a piece of green cardstock from the Seasonal Splendor cardstock pack. I've got two chipboard elements here, this beautiful flower and the butterfly. Both of these are also kind of creating a frame around this and overlapping beyond those borders. And I have another sentiment here from that cutout sheet with all of those beautiful sentiments on there. So that's my card front, pretty simple to put together, and I think looks really nice. And then for my card inside, I've kept it very, very simple. This is one of those beautiful botanical rub-ons. So this is, again, all one element here, and then the free spirit is a cutout sentiment from that all over sheet. Our final card project is a tuxedo style card design, which I think is a really fun and different shape to make. It's also super simple to do and a great way to create kind of a spotlight area for your card focal. It's made with a cutting die, which makes it really easy. So let me show you what I'm working with here. As you can see from the outside of the package, inside here you've got three metal shapes. So you've got your card back, you've got your card front, and then you've got the crossbar. Of course, being hot off the press, you will have project idea on the front. When you turn it over, you will have some written instructions on here, plus your folding and assembly diagram, as well as any measurements you might need, which is right on here, step number 4. Super simple to do. Let me show you here. I've got some pieces already die cut so that we can take a look. There's the card back. Here's the front, and then here's that crossbow there. So all you need to do to start is follow along with the diagram and fold up those score lines. Here's where the bone folder is really going to come in handy once again, not just for the rub-ons, but also for scoring up these lines to make sure everything is really crisp. So that's going to be the back. The front piece folds in the center and folds open like so. And if you're thinking, oh, what about figuring out where those score lines are? You don't have to, because with the die, as you can see here, you're getting not only the outside shape, which is the piece being cut, but you've also got the center score line and then these two side pieces. Those will be scored for you when you run this through your die cutting machine. So it's really, really easy to do. Makes it really nice. Then with your crossbar piece, all you do is follow those lines on there to fold up the short side, and you're ready to assemble. So this is where your measurement will come in, and that's when you're adhering your crossbow to the inside. So I've got a piece where I've already done this. You can see it's 2 3/4 inches from the bottom, and then you'll secure this in place. And this is where your focal will go. So you can see that that's going to pop out a little bit with some dimension. Then all you need to do is adhere these two pieces together. So what I recommend is that you use some extra sticky tape, and this is what they sometimes call the red liner tape, and this will hold everything in place really securely. So what I like to do is put a little bit of the tape along one side to start with, so pull off that liner, and then position this down on one side. Make sure that it's where you want it to go, securely in place, and then repeat for the other side. And glue those two together. This will fold down and you're ready to go. So then you'll have a piece that looks like that. So let me bring back in my original card and we can look at this again. I've cut the base of my card from double-sided cardstock from the Seasonal Splendor pack. So I have brown on the inside and on the inside front, and then green on the back side. So that just matched really perfectly. And I've die cut the front panel from pattern paper. So it's this one that I'm using for that. And then added it to that base piece. So it comes together really nicely and all of the colors coordinate beautifully. My focal is a cutout matted onto green cardstock with the flower chipboard behind and the butterfly on top. Now before you glue down large elements like the flowers, just check to make sure that it doesn't interfere with the folding mechanism of the card. So you may have to make sure that that's just perfectly positioned before you glue anything down. Then I have a matching floral cluster at the bottom corner, along with some leaf rub-ons from the Flowers and Birds rub-on set. I cut out the Own Your Story sentiment, that's from that pattern paper, and popped it up on some foam tape along with that butterfly. And that is our final project of the day today. So a big thank you to our friends at Stamperia for this absolutely gorgeous collection. I had a lot of fun playing with this. And a big thank you to you for joining me today. We're really glad you're here, and we're happy you're a part of the Paper Wishes family. Do feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear what you think. Each item can be purchased separately, and you can see them below. However, we've also bundled them into a creative money saver just for you. For the money saver, just see this webisode on paperwishes.com. And if you're watching us on YouTube, have a look in the description box below this video. You'll find a link that will take you to our Paper Wishes webisodes page, and you can see everything I just mentioned. If you enjoyed our video today, we'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It helps people to find our channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We create 3 to 5 videos each week, so there's always something fun to inspire your creative spirit.